Hey, I hope you're hungry. I made us some lunch.
Wow, that looks amazing. You really didn't have to.
Well, I wanted to surprise you. Ready to go?
Absolutely, let's head to the park.
My married neighbor invited me on a picnic. Then, she whispered, "Don't tell him." The moment my married neighbor stood at my front door, holding a picnic basket with trembling hands, I knew something was terribly wrong. Her smile looked practiced, but her frightened eyes begged for help, long before her lips ever moved. Then, as she stepped closer, she leaned toward me and whispered just 4 words that changed everything I believed about the people living next door. "Don't tell him." My heart pounded because I suddenly realized this wasn't an invitation to a picnic. It was a silent cry for help, disguised as an ordinary afternoon. Before we continue, if you believe kindness can change lives, and everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Kindness Echoes. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories that remind the world compassion still exists. I had lived in Maple Street for almost 3 years. My name was Ethan, a 32-year-old freelance photographer who preferred quiet mornings over crowded parties. My neighbor, Olivia, had moved in with her husband Daniel about a year earlier. From the outside, they looked like the perfect couple. They owned a beautiful house with white fences, colorful flowers, and a porch that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Daniel always waved politely whenever we crossed paths, while Olivia greeted everyone with a gentle smile that never quite reached her eyes. I often noticed small details others ignored. Sometimes she wore long sleeves even during warm afternoons. Sometimes she seemed startled by sudden sounds. I convinced myself it wasn't my place to assume anything about another family's private life. That Saturday morning, Olivia appeared at my door, carrying a woven picnic basket. She told me she had baked too much food and didn't want it to go to waste because Daniel was away on a business trip. It sounded innocent enough. We walked to the quiet lakeside park a few miles away, surrounded by green trees dancing in the summer breeze. Families laughed nearby while children chased butterflies across the grass. Everything looked peaceful, yet Olivia remained unusually silent. She kept glancing over her shoulder as though someone might suddenly appear. When we finally settled beneath an old oak tree, she stopped, pretending everything was fine. Tears gathered in her eyes before she whispered those unforgettable words, asking me not to tell her husband that she had met me. My confusion quickly turned into concern. She slowly explained that Daniel monitored nearly everything she did. He checked her phone, controlled the money, questioned every minute she spent outside the house, and convinced everyone around them that he was the perfect husband. She wasn't asking me to help her escape that day. She simply wanted someone to believe her because she had spent months feeling invisible. Listening to her felt like watching someone slowly remove an invisible mask they had been forced to wear for far too long. Every sentence carried years of fear. Every pause revealed another wound that couldn't be seen with the naked eye. I realized how easily people mistake silence for happiness. Behind beautiful homes and smiling family photographs, someone could be fighting a battle no one else noticed. Over the next several weeks, I struggled with what I had learned. I wanted to help without making her situation worse. I researched organizations that supported people living in controlling relationships. I quietly gathered phone numbers, legal resources, and information about emergency shelters. More importantly, I simply listened whenever she needed someone to hear her story without judgment. Sometimes kindness isn't about solving someone's problems overnight. Sometimes it's about giving them a safe place where they remember they still matter. One rainy evening, Olivia knocked on my door again. This time she wasn't carrying a picnic basket. She held only a small backpack and looked completely exhausted. Daniel had discovered she had secretly started taking online classes to rebuild her career. The argument that followed convinced her she could no longer stay. She wasn't running away because she hated him. She was leaving because she finally believed she deserved peace. I drove her to a local support center before sunrise. The volunteers welcomed her with warmth instead of questions. Watching strangers treat her with respect reminded me how powerful compassion can be. Recovery wasn't immediate. There were difficulties filled with paperwork, counseling sessions, court hearings, and painful memories. More than once she considered returning, simply because the unknown felt scarier than the life she had always known. Yet every small victory gave her another reason to keep moving forward. Months later, the woman who once whispered in fear stood confidently at a community fundraiser, helping others find hope. She had completed her certification, found meaningful work, and even volunteered to mentor people beginning the same journey she had survived. The sadness in her eyes hadn't completely disappeared, but something stronger had taken its place. Hope. As for me, I learned one of the greatest lessons of my life. We often believe heroes wear uniforms or perform dramatic rescues. In reality, heroes sometimes answer a knock at the door, listen without interrupting, and remind another human being they are not alone. A single act of kindness can become the bridge that carries someone from fear to freedom. If this story touched your heart, or reminded you that kindness can save lives, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to Kindness Echoes. Your support encourages us to continue sharing stories that inspire hope and compassion around the world. Special request: before this story ends, please comment with the words, "Kindness gives courage," if you believe every person deserves to live without fear, and that even a small act of compassion can change someone's entire future. Sometimes the quietest whispers become the beginning of the loudest victories. Olivia's picnic invitation was never really about sharing a meal. It was about finding the courage to believe that somewhere in the world, someone would finally listen. And because one person chose kindness instead of indifference, a frightened neighbor found the strength to reclaim her life, proving that hope often begins with the simplest words. I believe you.